Joining me in the studio this morning is Sports Information Director from Monmouth College, Mr. Nathan Baliva. Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
Did you have a busy weekend with Monmouth College?
We had a pretty busy weekend. Yesterday, unfortunately, was canceled because it was supposed to be raining in the afternoon. And then, of course, the way it goes, it wasn't raining in the afternoon. But you know, that was decision was made early Saturday morning. Looking at the forecast, Cornell's got a decent drive over here, so we didn't want them to come over and then not play. So the coaches made that decision on Saturday morning, and that's just the way it goes. Sometimes sometimes you make the decision to have them come over, and then it rains, and you sit here and you don't play, and they wasted a trip. Other times it works out the way it did this weekend, where they don't come over, and then we could have played. Very rarely does it seem, you hit that right in the middle where they do come over and you do play, right? So that was one thing off the schedule. We're going to have to make that up sometime this week. I know the coaches are trying to figure that out. Both teams have games this weekend on different days, so might be some juggling of that schedule, and we'll get that information out whenever we can. That's senior day for us, so it's important to get those games set up on a time when those parents can come down and celebrate their seniors and all of that stuff. And then they're also really big games because Cornell lost on Saturday to Grinnell, lost both. Monmouth won both at Knox, ruled Knox in both games in softball, and Lawrence lost this weekend as well. So the way the standings are set up right now, Cornell's 7-5, we're 5-7. We also do play Beloit still. They are at the bottom. Actually, Knox is at the bottom, but Beloit's right ahead of Knox. So games that we would be expected to win. So that means that Cornell series, whoever wins it is going to get the 4 spot. If we split both games, then it's probably going to be Cornell, in that spot because they'll get the 8 wins. But still a chance for Monmouth to win both games against Cornell and get into the 4 spot. So those are big games to make up at some point this week, which is the last week of the regular season. Baseball was home twice last week against Cornell on Wednesday and against Beloit on Saturday. Unfortunately, dropped all 4 of those, and now don't have control of our own destiny in the standings. Big game today at Beloit, which was supposed to be yesterday, but that too was rained out in Wisconsin. So a big game there for the Scots to get a victory. But now behind Cornell in the standings, and Cornell has the tiebreaker since they won both games here on Wednesday. Track had weather mess up their schedule. They were supposed to go to Illinois Wesleyan on Friday. That was canceled. Ended up doing a kind of an impromptu home meet here on Thursday night with Knox and Illinois College. Had a lot of success there with different things. A lot of career bests. Maddie Boley, Caleb Toberman improved their spots in the national standings with some season best and career high throws. And then Maddie went to the Drake Relays on Friday, and I know that was pretty difficult over there. They had at least 1, if not 2, lightning delays. Coach Woodard was texting me updates on that, and then they went ahead and threw while it was still pretty wet and windy and in some tough conditions. But Maddie threw 43 meters, which is just behind her season best, and finished 8th in her flight. And the Drake Relays is huge. They've got her flight had somebody from Virginia Tech, Nebraska, Iowa State, I think was in there, Illinois State, DePaul, some Division II and Division III schools mixed in as well that they're competing against over in the Drake Relays. So had that going on. The golf championships yesterday were delayed by rain, but they did get the first round in down in Metamora. Briggs Bossert's in 5th place in the conference tournament after round 1, shot a 73 yesterday. Gannon Greenman's also in the top 20. They should be teeing off about 10 a.m. this morning with round 2, and then round 3 scheduled for tomorrow. So we'll see if weather wreaks any havoc on that. And men's tennis played up at Madison in their conference championships. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody who made it to the semifinals on the main draw or on the playback into the consolation championship round. So, but finished their season up there in the conference championship. So yeah, really busy week with all of our spring sports doing something, and 3 of them doing things at home, and the other 2 playing in conference championships. So it's just that time of the year where every day there's something going on, and a lot of it has ramifications on conference tournaments.
We're talking with Sports Information Director Nathan Baliva with Monmouth College. Nathan, if you would, for those that don't know, the Drake Relays was pretty special.
Yeah. It's huge, and you look back at who's been there and done things in the past. When you look at their record books, and it's a whole bunch of Olympians. There were some people there this weekend, throughout that entire week, that we're going to see in Paris and this summer in the Olympics, that are going to make the Olympic teams, whether it's for the U.S. or for other countries. Going through colleges here, it's a high school event as well. They got, when you look at the schedule, kind of trying to navigate it to figure out when your event is a little difficult, because there's a high school boys event, a high school girls event, then there's the college university men and the college university women, and then there's multiple flights of everything going on at different times. They do some pretty cool things too, and I guess one of them they used to do back in the day, and it went away for 10 or 12 years, and it came back this year. But they do the pole vault in the mall, which is crazy. And the video in the mall, and the video of it, people can go look on and search it on Twitter or on Instagram. It is crazy. They've got it set up in the mall. They've got the whole pad there, and then the people are on both levels watching. So the people that are on like the top level at the mall, see them coming from below, and then they get up to be the same height as where they are, and the people at the bottom. But it's that part was pretty cool. The video I saw was the mall was pretty packed when they were doing that. Some people were joking, oh, there's still malls somewhere in the country. But yeah, that's what they had, and I guess they used to do that back in the the 80s and 90s, and now they brought it back this year for that. So they've got a packed house for all their events. You look back, and Carl Lewis ran there, and just a bunch of the different names that are on the list that everybody recognizes that have done events at the Drake Relays and competed there. So I was talking to Coach Haynes about it earlier. In the week last week, they used to take people over there just about every year when they were competitive. The years where we were winning the conference title, and then finishing top 4 and top 10 in the nation and bringing home that national trophy. We'd take relays over there and throwers and runners. So you got to apply. You've got to hit a standard to get accepted, and Maddie Boley did this year. So congrats to her, and had a really strong third throw over there on Friday to finish 8th in her flight.
That's what I thought. You had to be invited to get to the Drake Relays.
Yeah, we got to apply. I'm not sure. Coach Woodard had a handful that he submitted, that he was hoping to take over there, and Maddie was the one that got accepted. And we've got a couple others that hit what would have been the standard on Thursday night, but by then it was too late to compete over the weekend. So there were a couple relay teams in the conference. I know Grinnell and Illinois College had relay teams over there. For Monmouth, and Cornell had a couple individuals. They've got a really good heptathlete on the women's side. So there was a few other conference competitors over there as well.
Okay, coming up this week.
Yeah, it's another busy week. This is the last week of the regular season in all of the sports that are still going on, and we've got a bunch at home and a bunch on the road too. Baseball is going to be on the road today. They're scheduled for a 3:30 game at Beloit, which is pretty much a must-win for baseball to avoid the sweep up there against Beloit. They're going to play a non-conference game tomorrow night at Augustana at 7 p.m., and then they go to Knox on Thursday for another crucial road game. That's a makeup from a month ago, and then baseball's home all weekend, doubleheader against first place Lawrence on Saturday and senior day on Sunday. So they've got Beloit and Lawrence, who have both clinched playoff spots, and then Knox left, who's in last place, and probably got to go 4-1. Might have to go 5-0 depending on what Cornell does this weekend against Chicago. So it's a tough task ahead of the baseball team, but they've until last week they were averaging almost 9 runs per game, and hopefully they can get back into that hitting and get things going again. Softball's going to have the doubleheader against Cornell at some point this week at home. Not sure what day or what time. If I had to guess, I would guess Friday or Saturday would be the options there, but Cornell's got to move some things around on their schedule too. And then we play at Beloit on Sunday in the regular season finale. Got to win all 4 of those. 3-1 could get us into a tiebreaker spot, but 4-0 would wrap up a spot for sure. And then track's home on Saturday. That's their big home meet with 7 schools. Senior day for them. It's going to get started about 10:30 out there with the field events, and then get the running events going at noon right after our senior day ceremony out there on the football field for the track seniors. Golf, as I mentioned, has round 2 today and round 3 tomorrow. They're down in Metamora in the Peoria area, so that will set up the week, and then we'll see if either baseball or softball qualifies for the conference tournament next weekend, and track will have their conference tournament next weekend, the 10th and 11th down in Jacksonville.
Okay. And softball, they struggled early on with injuries, and they're starting to see some really good progress.
Yeah, injuries were a big part for softball this year. Had a couple down in Florida, a broken leg, a sprained ankle that ended up being much worse, and a couple of other injuries too. Number 1 starting pitcher with a shoulder injury. I think she ended up pitching twice all season. Was hurt right before Florida and never came back. So we had people moving around, all different sorts of positions. Starting shortstop ended up going to first base. Starting second baseman went to the outfield. Different players into a couple of those positions. Our catcher, Savannah Powers, who's a freshman, has caught just about every single inning this year. There was one game in Fompon beginning of the year where a different catcher caught, but no longer available. So right now we have one catcher, and she's a freshman. She's caught every inning. So props to her for being able to do that. But you had people in different positions. The hitting started to come around. You've also got 2 freshman pitchers, and that's a big ask out of them when they weren't expected to be the number 1 and the number 2, but because of injuries, now they really are. So and a couple of relievers that stepped into starting roles there in pitching, and so they've done a good job to get there. It's been kind of slow steps along the way. We had a really good weekend here against Ripon and Lawrence where we went 3-1 at home. And it's like, okay, then we're going to turn the corner, and then lost the next 6, and then bounced back and took out Knox. So it's kind of been a roller coaster season, but same with baseball. You got a lot of young players on both of those teams, so you're going to kind of get those roller coaster seasons of emotions where you're really good for a week and then you're really bad for a week and then things struggle. But when you got young players at this level, that's going to happen. And and now we're towards the end of the year, and both sports have a chance to make it into the conference tournament, which would be huge for young teams to get that taste of the conference tournament.
And also, as we think about the fact that it's May, goodness, graduation's going to be just around the corner, and a magnificent graduation
3 weeks
ceremony.
away, from yesterday.
But at the same time, our fall coaches, our winter coaches, they're trying hard to figure out who's going to be on the team. And coaches are concerned because the FAFSA delays have certainly thrown a monkey wrench into things. Yeah,
FAFSA's been difficult this year. I've been in a couple of the meetings that we've had with all staff and with the FAFSA department and admissions department, and they're just now getting those things done. I know we pushed our enrollment from May 1st to June 1st, and just the government kept changing, the formula that all the FAFSA directors around the country were using, and, what was going to be available has been a big question mark. So, there's a lot of and it's unfortunate for the kids because there's a lot of, high school seniors out there right now who don't know where they're going to go to school, and they're getting ready to graduate from college or from high school. They don't know how much money they're going to get. If they're going to get money. There were, a lot of issues too for the way people file. I know a couple of the big issues just from sitting in those meetings have been people that file, from both of their parents if they're not still married. If they're filing differently, that's been an issue. I know the bilingual filing has been an issue with different things on there, and so that affects rosters, it affects the coaches, it affects the school enrollment, and I know it's frustrating for everybody, but mostly for the students in high school who don't know what that next step is going to be, and we're just hoping that they don't give up and they wait for the process, and hopefully they'll get stuff back to our FAFSA office and our financial aid people there, and Jane and her staff. She sends emails 2, 3, 4 a week saying, okay, I got this many back, and they're going to go out today and check the list to see where your people are. And I know a lot of our rosters, football and both soccers, especially are, waiting on those numbers to see how many they're going to have and where their kids are going to be coming from. Those are the three that I've talked to the most for the fall and winter that are like really not sure what they've got. Volleyball is pretty set on their roster of what's coming in for the fall, and and then we get into the basketball teams. They're waiting on a few, but it also means we get later visits.
Yes,
which could be good too. Not right now, people are coming on campus at this time of the year when they're still high school seniors, and campus looks beautiful this time of the year. There's a whole lot going on right now with a couple of weeks left. There's fraternity things finishing up and sorority things finishing up, and ASAP's got events almost every day. So with the weather nice, campus is really great, and it's bustling, and there's a lot of things going on. So that part is good to have high school seniors on, where in a normal year they would have made their decision 2 months ago.
Sure.
And maybe they came up here when it was 25 degrees and snowing, and there's not a whole lot of people out and about, and now there is. So I guess that's a little bit of a silver lining, at least the way I look at it. Not sure if all the coaches agree, but if I'm putting a positive spin on it, that's one thing you find out of it, and hopefully we'll start to get some information back, and people will know how much money they're getting, and we'll have our rosters ready to go for the fall and winter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big signing week for a lot of our local area schools, but
it really is.
They all, unless it's a full ride, they don't necessarily know exactly where they're picking yet based on financial aid.
Yeah, and you see a lot more that are picking the junior college route too, and getting whether it's over to in this area, over to Sandburg or over into Burlington or to Blackhawk, and they're taking that route and figuring out. But yeah, they changed a bunch of the stuff. From what we're told, this is the only year it's going to be like this, and hopefully that's the case, and the formula's set and everything's ready to go into next year. But yeah, it's been a long, frustrating winter for FAFSA departments, admissions departments, and athletic departments around the country, not just here, or in Augie or Illinois College, whatever, but everywhere. Mm-hmm. Division I, all the way down, because it's a federal government thing. It's not just, hey, this is a Monmouth issue. It's a whole federal government changing their formula on the FAFSA, and that messes with everybody.
Sure, and you're exactly right. It's an everybody issue, not just one, our local college here in town with Monmouth College, but certainly affects them, which affects our economy.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. And I think that's everybody's fear, is that, it's already with the spot to where there are less and less of the high school students that are, looking to go on to college, and, especially after COVID and all of that. And now this kind of doubles down onto it, that, people are going to get frustrated and say, okay, well, I'll go straight into the workforce, or I'll go, to a different option. And we're just hoping people are patient and wait for, the government to get the formula set, to get the FAFSA out, and for not just Monmouth, but everybody to get their packages sent out to people and get them enrolled in school. And we're hoping they choose Monmouth and want to be part of the Fighting Scots success, and to help us to go after Midwest Conference titles.
Sure. And Nathan, do you plan on going to Omaha again?
That's the plan. Yeah, we've got the hotel booked. Dad books that usually about the first week of January every year. Before the big run goes, and the tickets are on sale. So I was looking at a couple of those different spots last week. We like to kind of wait and buy them when we're there and see what the weather's like. We don't want to get them ahead of time, and then it's 105 degrees and we're in the section with the sun, or it's raining, and there twice we've been there where tornado sirens have gone off, and you're hiding underneath the concourse spot, or I think one year actually the tornado sirens went off. We were in the beer garden, and that's not where you want to be, I guess, when the sirens go off. But
I saw the tornado. I got sent the video of the tornado in just outside of Omaha this past Friday.
Yeah,
got that in the afternoon. That was a big
I saw
one.
that on social media too, and yeah, it's not a good area to be in when that happens, and you get all that stuff. But yeah, so we'll get out there for the Sunday through Thursday. They're part of the first week. I don't know that my Gators will be there this year, but I think your Arkansas team probably will. So
we hope so.
They're pretty good.
I hope so. Yeah, pitching's great, but batting we leave a lot of bases loaded. I
yeah.
get empty beer hats
They
when that happens.
They might get a couple more series against A&M too. They might get them in the SEC.
See, that's a
SEC
scary
championship.
thing.
Then they might
Yeah.
get them in Omaha. So
Good gracious, A&M's tearing it up.
I know.
Running more runs. I mean, I have not seen. What do they average? Of course, Texas Tech. We beat Texas Tech, and they average 10.83 runs a game.
Yeah.
But A&M's put up 19.
A&M's up there, and Clemson. Clemson scores a lot of runs. They had a big one on Louisville yesterday. So yeah, there's some talented bats out there. The Georgia kids got 27, 28 home runs. Jack on Florida's got 26, I think, after the weekend.
Jack, didn't he break another record?
Yeah, he's
Jack Caglione. This
yeah.
guy.
He's having a heck of a year.
Taps it and hits a grand slam. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So's the Georgia conjure on Georgia. They're big kids, and they hit the ball a long way. Then Jack gets out there and pitches on Sunday too. So
I know I couldn't believe here he was pitching.
Yeah.
When do you see a two-position player at Division I? That's so unusual.
It's especially to have that kind of success, to be to be a Sunday starter, and then also to be hitting over 300 with 26 home runs. You don't see that a whole lot. So it's been fun to watch him as a Florida alum, and it'll be fun to follow him into the draft this summer and see where he ends up. Former Florida outfielder Wyatt Langford, who was on last year's team, got his first major league home run yesterday. So last year he was playing in Omaha, and he's got his first major league home run now, not even a full year later, and it was an inside the park home run, which you don't see for your first home run,
especially at the pros.
First major league home run. Yeah, did that against the Reds yesterday. Took a weird bounce off of the wall.
I was going to say, it must have hit the wall, hit the corner.
The two outfielders were both there, and it hit the wall and bounced into right field, and he slid it home, but he really didn't need to. The throw wasn't even there yet. So
go figure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens, but got the win over the Gators this weekend.
Yeah, you got it. You got us 2-1.
Yeah, that's all right though. Like I said, A&M, that's scary.
Yeah, they are. They're good.
And you know what happens when you play there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to hear the whole.
Their fans are the same way in Omaha. It's great. Like they
ball
come.
One,
yep. They come and they chant and they do all that.
Yeah.
They get other people into it. And the whole, there's a lot of fan bases that are a whole lot of fun to be around. In
it's better than
Omaha
the Whistler of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, the Vanderbilt Whistler. He was in Omaha last couple of years.
Give him our regards, please.
Yeah, right.
Go have a great week, Nathan.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Nathan Baliva, SID with Monmouth College.